If you're happy to be average in the universe, if you're happy planet Earth, you could do much worse. Jupiter has a skin condition, see that big red spot? Yeah. It's made of gas, so I just fly past, or I drop right through the lot. Yeah. If you want a holiday on Mercury, you get a tan. Yeah. But your clothes and skin will strip away because you melt before you land. Yeah. Cool guy Saturn's into fashion, check out the bling of those rings. Neptune is one ice cool guy, but Earth is average in everything. There's one planet every kid knows, in fact is rather famous. Look through the Hubble telescope and get an eyeful of Uranus. And that's not average at all.
Hello, ladies. I'm Professor McTaggart, and this is my brain dump on gravity. Everything in the universe pulls everything else towards it. We call this force gravity. The bigger a thing is, the stronger its gravity. The Earth, for example, is huge, and its gravity is very strong. That's why we all stick to the Earth. We're held in place by its gravity. Even small things have gravity, like you. But unlike the Earth, you aren't very big, so your gravity isn't very strong. The Moon is smaller than the Earth, so its gravity is weaker. Which is why, if you want to lose weight in a hurry, your best way is a quick trip to the Moon. Oh, nearly lost my balance. Ah!
Galileo, it is great to meet you.
Yes, I imagine it must be.
Now, you're famous for being the first person to use a telescope to look into space back in 1609.
Oh, please, I wouldn't say famous. It's such a vulgar word. Can we say legendary?
OK, yeah. And you were the first to discover the mountains and the craters on the Moon.
And all the stars in the Milky Way, that was me too. But you know, I'm not in this for the fame or for the money. I don't want to be a celebrity. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, Tony, I'll do it, but I won't do it for less than 50k.
Right, moving on.
That's my agent.
OK, yeah, right. And not only did you use your telescope to discover all sorts of cool stuff, you actually made telescopes yourself, just like we did earlier.
Yeah, indeed. In fact, I brought one along in case you wanted to take a look at it.
Yeah, cool. Wow, this is amazing. It works perfectly.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's a scientist's greatest joy to share the gift of knowledge. So that'll be $25.99, please.
What?
OK, don't all rush to help me. It only weighs a couple of tons.
Bow down, you mentally puny worms, and rejoice in the splendor of the original, official, awesome, McTaggart patented Atom Analyzer.
What does it do?
Well, the clue's in the name.
What? The original, official, awesome McTaggart patented Atom Analyzer?
Exactly. Everything on Earth is made of atoms, but different combinations of atoms make different things. To demonstrate, this machine will show you which atoms both you, a stupid human, and Bob, a strange robot, are made of. So Mark, step inside.
Good luck, Mark.
Ah, the machine has found calcium atoms in your body. Calcium's in your bones and makes them hard. Without calcium, they'd be all spongy and floppy and useless.
Iron.
I'm absolutely nailing this test. Getting everything right.
Your body also contains iron, which is what makes your blood red in color.
Carbon.
Sorry, I must have left a pencil on me or something from earlier.
No, Mark. Human beings are full of carbon, too. It's the main ingredient in fats and sugars, so the fatter you are, the more carbon you'll contain.
Sulfur.
Ah, that's interesting. You might not know, but tiny amounts of sulfur is what makes your bottom burps smell.
Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't think anyone would notice if I was in the machine.
Sulfur.
Yeah, sorry, admitting it. Made me nervous.
That's disgusting.
Right, Bob, your go. Let's see what you're made of.
Bob time. This should be fun.
Aluminium.
As a robot, Bob is made up of many metallic elements. Aluminium, for example, is what fizzy drink cans are made of.
Platinum.
Ah, platinum. Now, this is a very rare metal, and that means it's very valuable. That's why rappers wear necklaces made of platinum. They're showing off. Just like I am.
Where did you get that? It must have cost a fortune.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Oh, fantastic. Oof. OK, let the electron meet the neutron. Let's bring out our first contestant, shall we, tonight? She's looking to get paired up. It's Oxygen. Here she comes. Here she comes. Fantastic, look at that. She's looking great. Her atomic number's 8. Oxygen, welcome to the show. We've got a whole host of elements here wanting to find out if you can create something beautiful together. Let's hope so. Let's not waste any time, shall we? Come over here. Right, Oxygen, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's Oxygen. I'm a common element, and I was discovered by science in 1774, but I look younger.
Brilliant, that's fantastic. Right, well, let's talk to a couple of the elements who've turned their lights off, shall we? Find out what that's all about. Who have we got here? Iron, you're a big, strong lad, aren't you? Don't fancy old Oxygen here.
I know, she's lovely, but I'm a metallic element. If we were to get together, we'd just start oxidising and creating rust. So, Paddy, for that reason, I am out.
Let the metallic element see the oxidising agent. Right, who have we got over here, then? Cheeky carbon, look at this. Why'd you light out, fella?
Well, you know, when carbon and oxygen come together, they actually form a deadly poisonous gas, carbon monoxide. And that doesn't sound like a fun date. So, and also, I didn't really like her hair.
How about that? Well, you got a lot of lights on still, haven't you? So it's time to decide who you're going to take on that trip to the Isle of Fernando. Fantastic. Here we go. The colourless gassy, the chemical bond. Ooh. Oh, no, that seems good.
It's you.
Well, can you believe it? She's chosen the hydrogen twins. Well, she must be absolutely over the moon with that.
We're dead excited about it, Paddy. Hopefully the evening will go with a flow.
Brilliant. You know what? I think it might just, because when one oxygen and two hydrogen atoms come together, that creates H2O, commonly known as water. How about that? Brilliant. Fantastic. How about that? Well, let's find out how they got on their date.
Hello! I'm the world-famous Professor McTaggart. Open your ears, open your mind, and maybe open a window, because I'm about to drop a brain dump in your thought pan. There are 7 billion humans on this planet, all chomping through its resources like a class of children in a cake shop. Copper, for instance, used by plumbers to make pipes, could be all gone in just 60 years' time, or the average time it takes to get a plumber out to your house. And it's been estimated that all our known oil reserves, used to fuel cars, generate electricity, and make plastic, will only last another 40 years. Imagine life without plastic. It would be fantastic. I'm being sarcastic. It would be awful. This problem of stuff running out also includes things most people haven't heard of, but use every day all the same. Indium, for example, essential for making LCD screens, just like the ones some of you are watching right now, might be all gone in just 14 years. Which means you won't be able to watch me on TV, or as I call it, the doomsday scenario. But fear not. The stuff we throw away contains a lot of these useful things, and by recycling, we can slow down the speed at which they're all running out. So when people say, that's rubbish, the rubbish they're talking about might not be as rubbish as it sounds. Unless it's Bob's guitar solos, which are really rubbish. And that is my brain dump.
Wicked! Are we making bubblegum-flavoured slushies? Please, please tell me we're making slushies.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mark. No, this water represents the ocean.
Ah, boring, unbubblegum-flavoured ocean.
Mark.
I mean, incredible, awesome ocean. Whoa!
Yes. And as the ocean splashes around, It absorbs carbon dioxide, or CO2 as we call it, from the pollution in the atmosphere. For thousands of years, the amount of dissolved CO2 in the air stayed roughly the same, and marine life adapted to thrive under these conditions. See? But look what happens when we add too much CO2.
Right, so we are making slushies.
No, Mark, no. This is CO2, just in a frozen form. All that extra CO2 in there is making the seawater acidic. And what happens to creatures like coral when you add them to acidic seawater?
They think it's awesome?
No, it kills them, you nincompoop. Coral reefs are dying out all around the world. It's a terrible problem, and we all need to focus on solving it.
Professor, can I do my song now? It's about the difficulties of being a robot in a human world.
Not just yet. Maybe later.
And about the great scientist, Professor McTaggart.
I think we've waited long enough. Hit it, Bob.
Is that another one of those polar bear vids?
No.
Luce, seriously, if you need to speak to someone about those bear vids, I know this really good guy who helped me out with my string cheese problem.
Prepare yourself for an insane look at what they don't tell you in the science books. From inner space to the universe, we're on a case to face the worst. It's icky and it's whiffy and it's yucky and it's squishy, but we love it.